and welcome to Vlogtober 9th. It has been a rather cold and freezing fog sort of morning today, but fortunately it has been really still. Can't say the same for the rest of the country, but it's been very still here, so the house at least is nice and warm, and which is good because I'm going to be sitting around with wet hair for the next few hours. My hair takes all day to dry. Kind of give it a little bit of a head start, you know, blow dry my fringe, get in there with my roots for about 2 minutes, and then I let the rest dry naturally. But it does take all day, and if I don't kind of give it a head start, then I can wash it in the morning and I will be going to bed with wet roots even after all day. It is that thick. So I'm not sure what I want to do today. I could do with doing something with these. They are a state at the moment. They need trimming, filing, and I think maybe some Christmassy colour on them. Although let's be honest, 9 times out of 10 when I paint my nails they are red, because I love red nail polish, dark red nail polish. I don't know why, I just really like it. It's kind of one of my guilty pleasures is painting my nails. I don't go to the salon to get them done because I haven't got time for that, and I would trash them within 5 minutes. So putting a coat of nail polish on that lasts a couple of hours before it gets chipped at home is fine, and then my nails will just look an absolute mess for the next week until I can be bothered to take the polish off and do something with them. So I might do that as a kind of, I don't know, 10 minutes to myself later on. John's on about making some homemade sausage rolls for tea, which would be nice because it saves me from cooking. I could just do other nibbly bits to go with them. He likes to cook sausage rolls at this time of year, although cooking is kind of stretching it a little bit because it is ready rolled pastry, and he just takes sausages out of the skins and puts that on. Although I have taught him to put some like Parmesan cheese in there and stuff as well now, and you know, brush the sausage rolls and put egg glaze on them. But look away now if you don't want to see raw meat. I think I mentioned the other day that I was after knitting a hat for myself, just on top of all the other Christmas knitting I have to do. And I think I finally decided upon doing this pattern, which is the Plaid Talk by Lisa Overby. And it seems every time I go to use my printer, I need to clean the nozzles on it. But hey ho. So I'd been umming and ahhing on what yarn to use, and I thought about using the Gilead, and I thought about using handspun. Let me just take those out the bag. And I thought about using these 2 balls of Gilead together, and I just couldn't, I don't know, I just couldn't decide, and I was holding fire, and obviously there was good reason for it. And also I really wanted to use this handspun yarn, which looks quite orange actually on camera under these artificial lights, but it's more of a cool red with little green bits in and gold sparkle, a little bit festive. But I also had this other skein of hand spun, which is a cool red, which this one is more like this one in red tone. It's just a little bit lighter, but this one has black bits in as well, and a little bit of sparkle, but not overly sparkly. So I'd been trying to figure out a pattern where maybe I could use them both, because I really wanted to use this one. Maybe I could just do the rib in that colour and use that one on the main part of the hat, and I just couldn't get it to work. And then I was talking to John about it yesterday, and I pulled all the yarns out and realised that these two work really well together. And I don't know why I hadn't seen it. I think I was just so fixed upon having that red, and I just couldn't get it to work. So those two look good together. So I'm going to use those two together to make this pattern. So it'll be grey and red. And because of the black bits in this one, it'll work well with the grey Gilead. So I'm planning to do that. And with this skein, I'm going to use it on its own and hope I have enough. And what I'm going to do is knit either a beret or a tam style hat, preferably lacy, so that my yardage goes a little further, because I like that style of hat as long as I pin it on my head, and I think it'll look quite nice. So I showed the Everglade hat the other day, possibly, or on the podcast, which is a lacy style hat, but it has quite a long rib on it. But all I'll do is shorten the rib to make it more of a beret style, and that's a possibility. Although there is a couple of other ones in my Ravelry list that I may use instead. I need to have a look tomorrow, narrow it down, and just basically choose one so that I can get this on the needles. Because although I have the pattern ready for this, this is the more festive yarn. So I don't know. I also want Christmas socks, so in reality, do I have time to knit everything? Probably not. Okay, I've narrowed it down to a couple of patterns. One of them is the Spring Beret pattern, which is by a Natalie Lawson, although she, as far as I'm aware, she doesn't design patterns anymore. And the other one is a Woolly Worm Head pattern that I've had in my library for a few years now. Let's see if I can get this one to focus. Not very well, but it has kind of a leafy design on the hat. And I suppose the Spring Beret does as well. It's a free pattern, so I can show this one. But it has a simple lacy design as well. With this yarn, the sparkly one. So I'm thinking the Spring Beret has a gauge of 18 stitches. It is knit with a worsted weight and on a, if I can remember right, I think it's a 5mm needle, which is quite large, but I guess on a worsted weight, and it's designed to be knit, I think, in a cotton yarn. But this yarn is kind of somewhere, because it's hand spun, you see, it's not the same thickness all the way through, or my hand spun isn't, certainly. I think that is the beauty of hand spun, is it doesn't look like a commercial yarn, it looks handmade and hand spun, and that's what I love about it, and the texture that you get from knitting with it. So in places it is a DK weight, and in other places it's a worsted weight. There's a slight thick and thinness about it, which is probably not going to show up on camera at all because it just isn't. Holly, can you hold on a moment? She wants to go through into the den. So I could use it, but I'm a bit worried that 5mm needle might be a little big for this yarn, because although it is a thick and, you know, it is between a DK and a worsted, I would say it's definitely errs more towards the DK weight. Now the one from Woolly Worm Head is knit as a DK weight, and it is knit as a 22 stitch gauge on 3.75mm needles. Now normally my fingering weight I do on a 3.5 at a 24 stitch gauge, and a DK weight I'm more likely to knit on a 4mm needle at a 20, well, somewhere between a 19 and a 21 stitch. So what I'm what I'm going to do is try it, swatch on both sides needles, see what I like. Also, the woolly wormhead one uses more yardage, but it also has a very long rib on the hat, on the brim, because technically it is not a beret style hat, it's more of a slouchy beanie style hat. But if I was to knit the largest size, which is a size bigger than I need for my head, for the main body of the hat, I knit the smaller size for the rib, which is the size for my head, which is a 22 inch, then it's going to give more of a beret style, because the proportion of stitches would work out around about the same as for the actual spring beret. So the spring beret, you knit the rib and then you increase the stitches by 50%. So yeah, so it's half as many stitches you cast on for the rib, you then increase by that much to get the new stitch count for the main body of the hat. So if I was to do that with the woolly wormhead and cast on the smaller size in the rib and then increase to the larger size, it would work out roughly the same, in fact slightly more stitches. And with the rib being about 4 inches long on this one, if I decrease that down to 1.5 inches or 1 inch even, then maybe I will have the yardage needed to knit the woolly wormhead hat even. So I'm tempted to do that because I do like it. I do like it because of this leaf design, although I do like the simplicity of this one too. So I'm not sure. I need to, like I said, I need to check my gauge. I also, whilst my printer is now working again, printed out the Zero Waste Gather dress by Birgitta Helmerson, so that I can make a muslin up very soon of this before I start cutting into my nice new fabrics.